Hey everybody, welcome back to the Monday Offline Podcast. I'm your co-host, That One Camera Guy, along with co-host Jason Baum.
And today we'll be talking about Danny's recent trouble with some of his projects that he's working on as of late, as well as anime. We're talking about anime and the brand new Sony ZV-1, as well as somebody trying to break into my house. More on that in a few seconds. No, why don't you walk me through, man? What was it like last week for you? I know you had a pretty stressful week last week.
Yeah, so last week I was putting together this end of the year video for our high school, and it was basically a culmination of the past 4 years for these students. Now, I probably wouldn't have gone as hard on this project, like really put a lot of effort into it, but the fact of the virus situation and the kids not, missing a lot of events at school, I really wanted to put something nice together for them. But the entire process was very difficult. So I basically spent like 2 weeks on this entire project, maybe a little longer than that. But what I did was I went through photos from the past 4 years of school, obviously including this particular school year. And I was looking at the amount of pictures, Jason, and it tallied up to almost 200,000 plus images.
Oh, man.
There was like some crazy stuff that happened too, right? So I'm going back to 2016, 2017. I even went back to like 2015, 2016. And I went through that time frame all the way back to current. And there were some of my catalogs in Lightroom had like 70,000 photos. And that's just for a year, right? So I'm not even saying in totality. This was just like 2016, 2017 might have had like 70,000 images. Now, granted, I started combining the images that my students had taken during that time frame, but just for me alone, I probably had about 50,000 images on average for my own sake.
Oh, God.
It's a lot of images. It's a lot of images.
I would assume it's the students that are a little bit more gung-ho and be more trigger happy. That's what adds up to your total, right? But you're saying you alone have already amounted to 50,000, so your kids aren't even taking that much photos.
Right. And it's funny, like that whole being trigger happy with the images. Some do, some don't. And I at this point I always encourage them to take more photos than not, only because we can always delete stuff anyway. It's not a big deal. So I always err on that side of just taking more photos. Granted, it does suck because it makes it difficult to kind of like sort all these images. It kind of makes a problem there too, but I'd rather have additional pictures than no pictures at all. So yeah, so here's the thing, right, Jason? So, the senior class has about like 300 kids, 330 kids, and I'm going back in time and I'm going through all these photos trying to figure out who are seniors during their freshman year, their sophomore year, their junior year, a little bit easier during their senior year. And I'm just like spending like the last couple weeks just trying to figure out, okay, who are these kids that are the class of 2020 over the span of 4 years? It took a lot of work. I mean, I had somebody help me out, another student help out with that. But for the most part, it was pretty daunting. But I don't know. Have you ever had Lightroom crash and corrupt a catalog on you?
I can't say that I have, but if you're telling me you're processing over 200,000 images, that's woo.
So what I would do, right? I would go into the catalog. I would start tagging all the photos which I identified as seniors, the class of 2020, and I spent like 3.5 hours going through one catalog, and then it crashed. I was like, okay, no biggie. This catalog had 60 to 70,000 images, right? I'm like, okay, fine. I'll load it back up. I load it back up. Catalog loads back up in Lightroom, and it says, oh, I got to repair this catalog. It's damaged. I say, all right, Lightroom, go ahead and repair this catalog. And you know what Lightroom says at the end? Sorry, cannot repair the catalog. Now, if you don't know, when you can't repair a catalog, you can't open it anymore unless you have a backup. And the last backup I had was like 3 weeks ago. And I lost like 3.5 hours of work on that. And I was like, man, is this really that important? Do I really want to go through all the trouble of tagging all these people in the photos again? So I learned my lesson. So every time I exited Lightroom, I backed it up. And I was backing up the catalog every 20 minutes. I was that frustrated. So I don't know. It was just getting on my nerves, and I was just getting so agitated that I didn't want to lose all that work again. So I just started having Lightroom just start every 20 minutes, exit, and back up that catalog. So I'm glad you've never had to deal with that, Jason, but it's rough.
It's that's a PSA for anyone that's listening in right now. You may not think Adobe Lightroom will have the Premiere Pro symptoms of crashing on you, making you lose hours of process. So make sure you back up your catalog.
It was so bad. I started looking at other options. I started looking at Capture One again. I started looking at Affinity Photo. I started shopping around right away. I said, you know what? I don't want this crap happening again. So I think there was like a deal for like Affinity Photo or something like that. I went ahead and purchased that. But I was like looking at Capture One again. I'm like, should I get the newest Capture One? Because Capture One lets you import the current Lightroom catalog. So if you have a Lightroom catalog, you can import into Capture One. But I was like, I don't think it's worth messing around with this right now because I've only got maybe like a few more days until the thing is due. And I just said, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna stick with Lightroom and just back up the catalog very, very often, like all the time, just keep backing it up. So that was interesting. I've had catalogs corrupt before, but I didn't think it was happening. And then at that point, I was just like, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to back up the catalog every single time I exit. So that's my PSA for everybody. If you feel like you're doing a lot of work, back up your catalog every time. Just make it a habit.
And let me ask you something, Danny. I mean, like all these photos that you've taken, were they JPEG and RAWs only, or just JPEGs?
I shoot RAW. It's bad. It's so bad. You know what's even crazier too? I was even thinking about, man, I need to get a faster system. I was like, I'm gonna go to the Threadripper. I'm gonna get a 32 core system. I'm gonna build that out. I'm gonna go, because I was looking up on Puget Systems. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but you want to spec out a really nice system for doing stuff. And I was shopping around. I was like, okay, maybe I can build out a 32 core system, great graphics card, good SSDs, whatever, everything else, all that stuff, and just make Lightroom go really quickly. But I mean, it did fine. It managed. It wasn't too bad. But you're right. Making those previews take a while, especially with a large catalog, Jason. Just generating previews it's a nightmare.
Please don't tell me it was a mixture of A7R photos where you have 42, 61 and everything in there.
It's funny because 2016, 2017, I think I was transitioning from my Canon to Sony at that point. So I think at 2016, 2017, the A7R2 was out. So I was already starting to use the A7R2 at that time, 6300. Yeah, good stuff. And yeah, I was getting freaked out because my external storage, Jason, it's this Thunderbolt RAID array. I have 3 of them. So these 3 units are attached, they're daisy chained, and they're attached to just one Thunderbolt port on the back of my computer. And I've had times when my Thunderbolt RAID will start freaking out and it'll start blinking lights like everything's dead. I've had that happen before. And I said, I just lost 40 terabytes of data just like that. And luckily, a restart, and then it rebuilt, it sets everything back up. So it was getting scary, Jason, because the project was getting bigger. I was building it through DaVinci Resolve. And the crazy thing is that as this project was just growing and growing and growing, I got more worried because I was like, the bigger this project gets, the more dangerous it becomes, right? And I'm going to say DaVinci Resolve was a champ for the most part. It was handling it really well. I had tons of H.264 footage, didn't have to transcode or anything like that, but just tons of video, tons of images, and it held up just fine. Granted, I noticed some issues, but it managed to get by and not die on me. So I know for a fact that Premiere Pro wasn't going to do anything. And I don't know if you heard about that update Premiere Pro had. I don't know if we even talked about it. Premiere Pro had that thing. About it. I was for those that don't know, Premiere Pro got that update with the H.264 converter. Like it either improved the decoding or encoding, one or the other for exporting. And I'm like, that's not going to help me. What's going to I need help in the timeline. I don't need help with the exporting. I could care less. So on the timeline side of things, it's crazy, but DaVinci Resolve can really take advantage of the GPU really well, and so it managed well, and good thing I had fast storage with the Thunderbolt and everything. But the crazy thing too is that one issue I had was when I exported the video, I started, in Premiere you get that media offline symbol that shows up sometimes when something's missing. I don't know if you've ever seen that before. Yep. In DaVinci Resolve, Jason, this is so weird. So imagine I have this clip. Let's say I have this clip. He's a basketball player. This kid's going to go up for a layup. It's the kids. You see the kid going for a layup, and it cuts out. It says media offline, and then you see him go up for the layup. When you see media offline, you would assume the entire clip is missing, but not in DaVinci Resolve. It has these weird. It was having these weird quirks. Like, why is only the middle piece of this clip missing, but the rest of it's there? So I don't know. I found some workarounds and everything like that, but man, I'm just glad I got it done. So.
Oh man. I mean, talk about technology just failing on you when you most need it. You sound like you had a run in with all the softwares.
I think it's good. I mean, it's not as if I encountered it and I didn't know what to do. Like, I kind of knew that there was some workarounds that I needed to do, and I got by with it. So the project ended up coming out to about 37 minutes at the end of it. So it was a pretty lengthy video. Students submitted messages like thank yous and everything like that. So it's really weird, Jason. I would imagine you probably deal with the same thing when you would have to edit like wedding videos. You kind of take all the footage together and you have to piece it all into one little beautiful package.
Yep.
And so, but the scary thing is the more material you have, I feel the scarier it is because there's just too much material. And I was dealing with that for a little while until I kind of figured out a system. So I kind of got a flow. I just took it, year by year, kind of like, oh, here's what you guys look like in your junior year, your sophomore year, your freshman year, and then I jumped back to their senior year or whatever. So I kind of found an angle for it. But yeah, it was a pretty lengthy video, and we got it done at the very last minute, only because we were waiting on a student to submit their picture. Mm-hmm. And the school live streamed it through Facebook, apparently. Okay. So they chose Facebook. I uploaded a copy to YouTube just in case something would happen, and I was right.
Of course.
I was right. So here's what happens, I guess, right? And I don't blame anybody at the school at all. I mean, I feel like it's my fault because I assumed too much, and I said, because I was like, okay, here's the video, you guys take care of it, right? Like I didn't sleep much. I probably slept like 4 or 5 hours for the last 3 days, each day. And then I just handed him the video. I said, oh, here it is. I got the video done. Here, take care of it. Present it at 7 p.m. And in my head, I was like, oh, they're going to live stream it. Because we all agreed they were going to premiere, right? So when you hear premiere, Jason, that means we're all going to see it at the same time, right? We're all going to see the video at the same time. But what ended up happening was my principal emailed the video out to all the students ahead of time and said that they were going to do the live stream on Facebook. And I said, in my head, I'm like, why would you send it out? The idea was to premiere it. And I don't know, there must have been some communication issues at some point through the chain link, but I was just like, it was pretty rough that time. When I saw it, I said, why did I spend all that time to get it done exactly at that moment when it was going to be on demand? It's going to be tossed out there and on demand. And then
it's already on Netflix, guys. Right. Just, here you go.
basically. So, and then the second thing too is when they were trying to get it to do the live stream. Apparently, I heard, because I wasn't even paying attention to it. They didn't get it to load properly at 7 o'clock. It was like an hour plus delayed. So I think they were having issues with uploading it and getting it to premiere on Facebook. And so I guess people were getting kind of like, hey, where's the video at? Why is it taking so long? So I already had it uploaded to YouTube as a backup, so I just made it public at 7 o'clock because I was hearing there was issues with it. So I made it public. Reception was pretty good with it. We had some minor issues. I guess some kids, they emailed their material and we completely missed it. It wasn't my fault on my end. I would have felt more horrible if it was my fault, but it just seemed like the email system didn't work properly. We didn't get their message or something. So I had to go back into the video and re-edit it and add them in there. But I don't know. People think it's like easy. They say like, can you just add this kid that we missed their message in there? And I'm like, that's going to take 3 hours to put them in there. You know how it is with video. People don't realize the level of complexity. Think about like you were putting a wedding film together, and all of a sudden it's like, can you change this situation here in this particular scene, and just drop it right in there. The idea being it's a really drag and drop system, but
it's only gonna take. It's only that 1 second. Just take out that frame of my my ex brother-in-law or something. Like, what? Yeah, okay. I understand because it takes how long to open that project? 10, 15 minutes. And you're talking about, and you're telling me how big your project is. It must take forever for it to even upload and just process all that clip. And then for you to export it again. Holy hell, dude.
That was one of the biggest challenges, right? So we needed to get this video out by 7 o'clock. I was supposed to get this video to the admin by the morning. It's already 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm waiting on this photograph from one student, and we finally get it. I go back in there, I drop it in there, and I do the editing or whatever. I do the export. The exports were taking about 30 minutes, which thank God DaVinci Resolve was doing a decent job. Probably 35 minutes for a 37-minute video. But because my internet was sucking so bad, Jason, it was taking time. It was like I didn't even export it out to the highest bit rate because I knew there was going to be issues. It was like 3 gigs, still a pretty big file in the world of the internet for this kind of thing. And I was like, I got it to them by like around 3 o'clock, I think, 3 or 4, and they still haven't done any tests with the Facebook side of things. So I don't even know. So that break in that chain link caused that issue with the Facebook side because they should have had the video in the morning, uploaded already. I'm pretty sure the video was still processing when it got uploaded by that time. So, but yeah, that got all squared away. It was very well received, I suppose. But I was just like, in my head, the next time they plan something like that, I'm like, either I'm completely involved in the upload process, or I'm going to be pretty hesitant to tackle something like that because it didn't premiere the way I was expecting. I said, why?
Hey, I mean, look, it's the first time for everybody, right? I feel like this is something that your school hasn't really done before. It's, it's as you said, it's no fault of anybody. I don't think it's your fault either. I mean, like, obviously you were trying to delegate certain responsibilities to, a member of your staff or your team.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's just with the way that everything is right now, no one's really prepared for this pandemic. So for someone to just suddenly know all the lingos of premiering and doing live streaming, I mean, even now, we've always loved doing Monday Live, so it's not a fault of nobody. It's definitely the internet.
Now, the bad thing is I knew I was already expecting something was gonna happen, and I should have been a lot more cognizant of it, but I was burnt out already, Jason. Like once you finish a big project, right? Like you did this is all you've been doing. You're done. I'm like, I don't want to think about this right now. And I was at that point. So, but anyway.
Well, let's hope you don't have to do it again. But if you had to do it again, I mean, what would have been different? How would you have mitigated all of this issue for the next run?
Well, as far as the magnitude of the actual project, the funny thing is, though, I'm expecting kids now in the future, they're going to want a video like this because everyone really liked it. So this next upcoming class is going to want a video like it, and the next class after that's going to want one like that. So what we'll probably do is that whoever's doing media stuff with my classes, we're going to start having them identify all the students ahead of time. They're going to go ahead and take care of the tagging the kids. So that way I don't have to worry about doing that. So as long as all the tagging stuff get taken care of, and honestly, if we just use a cookie cutter template, like if we use the same template I did now, we'll be fine. So I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel. So at that stage, if they want something like it, it shouldn't be a big deal. As long as people start tagging them and everything, we'll be okay. But yeah, it was good. I knew it was going to be rough, but it was nice to be able to put myself in a really tough situation using DaVinci Resolve because it got me to really understand the program a little bit more and understand its quirks a bit. But it was good, and I was just relieved. That time we were going to reschedule for the what was it for our session today, right? Because I think we were planning, was it Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, I ended up being busy on Monday, and then you obviously had to finish this, so it was supposed to be Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday, and I said, and like I was talking to you about the last time, I can't concentrate when there's like 2 things going on at the same time. It's like my brain, I would have been so stressed out during that, because Thursday was the day we premiered it. So, but I was pretty much working all through Wednesday to get it, to tidy it up and everything like that, and get the video shown. So, but yeah.
I'm glad you got it done. There's no pressure on this end of things, so I'm glad you got it done. You're a free man now, right? You're a free man.
Not quite, unfortunately.
Jeez. Oh, jeez.
So Apparently, assuming as all things go in play right now, it looks like the school is planning to do an in-person graduation, and looks like some requirements, some things have been lifted to allow that to happen. Granted, students will only be able to bring two people, parents or guardians, whoever they might be, and they'll have to be all separated 6 feet apart in our football field, I believe is the plan right now. So they're scheduling that for June 18th, and I usually get self-volunteered to do something like the live stream, right? So that's my next venture. I mean, I'm not busy, like really busy at this moment. I just got to make sure I have all my stuff ready for that. So I'm not completely out of the woods on that. So we'll see how that goes. It's
So
gonna
this
be
is
kinda,
this is almost an extension, right? Because then your school year wraps in May.
it already
and now
finished.
You're all the way out to June.
The school year was already done. It technically is already finished. This is all volunteer at this point, so it's just more volunteer. I mean, I could say no, but I'm like, who else are we gonna go? Who else are we gonna go to for that situation? So
They got no one else, Danny. I mean, you're telling me if they can't even run a Facebook live stream, they got no one else, dude.
well, look, they got the chance to do it. So I mean, I don't expect it to happen again. So if not, I'll be definitely wanting to be involved in the process the next time it happens around. So, but yeah, they're gonna do that. I'm trying to figure out how to handle that too, because I still want to stream it on Facebook. So, I mean, I've done a live stream through Facebook. We've live streamed something through Facebook before, so it's not something I haven't done. But I wanted to also do the YouTube thing too. But I'm trying to figure out how to do it, Jason, because I do want to stream it, but I also want to record in high quality as well. So those are the things I usually deal with. And I probably won't have any help this time because obviously you're not going to be able to bring students out there to help out with that kind of thing. So for me, on my side, I'm trying to figure out how to kind of solo this out in terms of doing it, or just keep it kind of simple. Don't overthink it too much. One solid camera to record the main thing. That's going to be live stream, because I want to do multicam. I want to have like a cam here, a cam here. Make it look good. But so I guess we'll see.
I'm trying to think of it from a wedding perspective, because if we were, obviously we've had clients ask, hey, is it possible to live stream this? I mean, if we were going to do it, we would probably do like a straight up medium cam only. Mm-hmm. Just on the center stage, or for us it'll be the aisle, and just call it a day. I mean, like you try to do multi-angle, you're gonna have someone that has to like cut, like press for the angles, right? Switch to 1, 2, 3, and that's too much work. On top of that, you have to worry about the recording. So I probably would just stick with one angle, right in the dead center of the kids grabbing the diploma and piecing out, and then the rest, it's just multi-cam, and you just cut it up. But that's a lot of work on your end, dude. I mean, like, don't they usually hire people for this to create
people
graduation
out.
Videos?
Well, I've been doing it for the last 7 years, so.
Wow. Yeah, they're taking advantage of you.
I mean, there was a time we, what is it? We did live stream one of them before, but it didn't work out so well. But yeah, they have someone doing the photos. I mean, I wouldn't want to have to do double duty or something like that. So they have someone else, I think, that's going to come on and take the picture and everything like that. So I'll probably, like you said, keep one simple camera, but I do want to have a multi-cam option when I do the finalized edit of the graduation video.
Oh, yeah,
so,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, worry about that in post, right? I mean, like, at least then you have the comfort of your own home to go back and forth between a wide and a tight. But for the very least, when it comes to live streaming, you go for that medium cam. At least it's a solid, clear shot of their kids or their nephews or their whoever picking up their diploma. It's a clear shot, at least.
I'm also thinking about the audio too. What's kind of the best way to handle that? What I've done before. I've had my Zoom and I'd plug that directly into the DJ's speaker. But I was also thinking of also wiring something with my NTG, one of my Rode NTGs, and wiring that into one of those XLR K2M adapters in the Sony cameras as well. So it would be right at the podium. So I'd have, get the DJ audio, but also directly at the podium. So I've also been thinking about like the length of cables too, because I was thinking about the multicam. And the reason why I was thinking about doing multicam was because since the event, they were only going to be able to bring 2 people with them, that I was thinking that the rest of the family would want to see it live. You know what I mean? Like in terms of the whole event. Yeah. And so I was trying to think like what's, how to make it look better than just that one shot. So we'll see. we'll see how it goes. There's actually 2 graduations that are happening. One for the other school that's in our area that I'll probably help with. So that'll be kind of my test run, so to speak. I mean, we'll still have the angle, and then we'll have it the following day. And
Hey, yeah, sorry, kids, you're the guinea pigs for this live stream.
And we're having the graduation at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. So the sun's already going down at that point. So
oh dang, okay.
Time to get that A7S III, Sony. Where's that? Where's that?
Yeah. Well, I trust that the your football. It's a football stadium, right? With the huge lights and everything.
Yeah,
At least then it'll be pretty well lit, I assume.
Yeah, we'll be okay with the lights and everything like that. Yeah, it should be okay. It's just more, I feel like, those things, even though there's lighting, but if there's no direct lighting hitting the person that you're trying to light, it's still going to look like crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those,
yeah.
It's one of those weird issues where if the positioning is really off, yeah, there's lighting on the field, but they'll just be like weird shadows on people's faces. So
all right, Danny, you're gonna get the Aperture 600D. You're gonna blast it right in the middle of the stage. Get yourself some wireless setup so you can just transmit that signal to your laptop for live. Oh my god,
Jason, you know what, you're saying that. I mean, you thank for bringing up because we do have wireless mics like XLR wireless Rode mics. And I was thinking of using that instead of using a cable thing. So setting up a wireless mic with the receiver on there from Rode, and then having that feed somewhere else in, so I don't have to drag a long cable and make that another problem for me to deal with. So. Thank God for technology, Jason.
Hey man, if you want, I just got a couple of wireless transmitter and receiver for video. If you want to take that out for a spin, I don't know if that's going to be helpful with you in any way, but I'm happy to one day it to you if you need it.
Are you talking about where it transmits the footage from that feed? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so you know how we're doing all this live streaming with the cam link and all that, but we have to have a direct connection. So what you would do is, have you heard of Hollyland?
I think so, maybe not.
Okay, so essentially it's a wireless transmitter, right? It's for your camera, for a director's monitor, right? If someone's shooting on a gimbal and obviously you can't be like wired in, you put that wireless transmitter, the director's monitor has the receiver, and it can transmit that signal so the director in another room can see the footage. So what you can do is you can actually use the receiver and for your cam link on the laptop, but then whatever camera is shooting the center angle could be with the transmitter to transmit that signal. So that saves you from having to run another cable.
Okay. It's okay, Jason. I appreciate the offer. I'll just see one more thing I have to drag out there and worry about in terms of logistics.
It's a light setup. I don't want to take it off my camera system. Right? It's light though. It's like the size of an iPhone, literally. You let me know, man. You let me know. Okay.
Oh man. So
you're gonna message me on June 17th. Hey, is that offer still on the table?
Can you like overnight it like right now? Shoot.
Oh man, That's an adventure for you, Danny. That is quite the adventure for you.
But yeah, so up until then, I've been. I mean, overall, like I said, in terms of the whole grand scheme of things, has been too bad. Yeah, I mean, the video project was pretty tough, but it was the only thing I had to really focus on. So it wasn't like, my attention was like in 20 different places or anything like that. So, but yeah, I'm a little bit relieved. The year's over, the school year's over, and I can kind of breathe a little bit more. Granted, I was able to breathe a little bit earlier on, but I mean, now I can just breathe and not have to think about things. So what I've been up to now is like I've been trying to just get all my stuff organized. So I have like my other room, and I've just got like plastic bins of stuff in there that has like camera gear and equipment. So I'm just like trying to organize things into these plastic bins and containers and have them all labeled and everything like that. So I don't know if you've ever ended up collecting a bunch of USB cables, a bunch of display cables, a bunch of like HDMI type cables. So what I do is I just put them in a Ziploc bag, I label it, and I drop it in there, and then I just organize it like that. So I usually get pretty disorganized throughout the year, but when it's summertime hits, I usually use that time to just get everything kind of organized because it gets pretty hectic usually. So
Yeah, totally. I mean, I that's how, moving to this apartment with the second bedroom. I mean, that's exactly what I tackled first. It's just like cables, boxes for cables, throwing away similar looking cables. It's like, why do I have so many USB Type A
Right.
cables, Type B, Type C cables? It's like, why? It's just,
How long do you end up keeping boxes,
oh, like camera boxes and lens boxes and all
or do
that.
you keep them?
Usually, if I know I'm not going to sell something, I'm just gonna throw away the box. If I know, like, okay, there might be some sort of deadline for this, like, or not deadline, but a timeline for a gear that I'm owning, then I will keep the box around just in case I need to sell the camera gear. So A7R4, A7 III, I keep it just as a display piece, but the Switch, like Nintendo Switch box, like I know I'm keeping that. That goes out. That goes out the door the next day. So that's how we deal with boxes.
I was looking at my Switch box today, and I was like, yesterday, I was like, man, I should just throw this thing away.
They take up so much space, right?
Dude,
Like certain boxes.
Yesterday, I just chucked up. I crushed a bunch of boxes yesterday. Filled up like 4 or 5 trash bags worth of just like cardboard boxes. I kept all the camera boxes and the really nice lens boxes, but like the cheaper third knockoff brand, I got rid of those boxes. I got rid of just a bunch of boxes, Apple boxes.
Goodbye, Young Newell.
Yeah, there was.
Goodbye, G Master. Crappy boxes.
I kept those things, but it was good. I should just get rid of those boxes. I got rid of some DJI boxes and all that good stuff, and I think I'll start getting rid of the older camera boxes soon and just keep the newer ones.
Okay.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's like if I was going to sell something, like at some point, no one's going to care about the box. It's like, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, were you part of the whole? Have you heard of Marie Kondo, the whole tidying up your life kind of fad that went on just last year?
No.
No, never.
Is it like?
So essentially, it's a Netflix show now. So if you want to ever catch it on Netflix, but essentially it's a Japanese lady that kind of talks about tidying up a very messy and cluttered home, and essentially kind of go over every single item in your house and kind of like look at an item. You're like, does this bring me joy? No, it does not bring me joy. You throw it away, right? So that's sort of how you decide to like, keep certain things or throw away certain things. And I read the book a while back, me and Vivian, before this whole fad blew up and became a Netflix show and, a global phenomenon. But essentially, when we started reading the book, she talked about like don't keep boxes, don't even keep the warranty cards, because 9 out of 10 times the company that you bought the item from, the product from, they will honor your warranty, because as long as you still have your receipt, you'll be okay. So there's no reason to hold on to all these boxes, and that really got me thinking. That's when I started throwing away boxes. I was just like, all right, A7 III box, goodbye. A7R2 box, goodbye. It's like, they're taking up way too much closet space. And I say this now. I say it online, but I still have boxes piling up in the bathroom right now. But it's very liberating. I don't know about you, but it's very liberating to get rid of some of these boxes and even some of these junk that you accumulate over the years.
I was trying to play Final Fantasy VII on the Switch, the old one.
Wait, you're playing Final Fantasy? You played Final Fantasy on the PlayStation. Now you're playing Final Fantasy on the Switch? Jeez.
The old one, right? And so I poured in maybe like 10, 15 hours into it. Granted, I'm playing it on the fast speed because it lets you play it on a fast speed on there. And then the Switch crashed.
What?
It crashed. I lost 3 hours, Jason. I lost 3 hours.
I'm sorry, because you were talking about your DaVinci Resolve. Oh no, sorry, your Lightroom losing 3 hours, and you're talking about your Switch losing 3 hours of process.
I was just grinding. I was just, how you're just training, right? And I didn't save because I didn't need to save. Because I trusted the Switch when I closed it, it'd be fine. I could pick up where I left off. So I just kept grinding. I just kept leveling up my characters for a while, Jason. And then I'm about ready to like save. It crashed. And then I looked it up, and they're like, yeah, because I looked it up online. Some other people had the same issue. It just can't run the game correctly, the Switch.
Oh.
I was
man, that
just,
sucks.
and you know what? It's fine because I stopped playing. I stopped. I stopped playing.
You're like, I'm done. I'm done with this. F this. I'm done.
I just said, you know what? I don't want to play with this anymore. I am so done. What was I thinking? Why was I trying to get invested in this into this? That was probably like the last game that I felt that really consumed my time. It really is hard. The last other game I played, Jason, was I think prior to the Final Fantasy VII one was Pokemon. The latest one that came out.
On the Switch?
Yeah, on the Switch. I went ahead and played that one, and I finished it because I hadn't played a Pokemon game in so long. The last one I really cared about was Pokemon Silver, Gold and Silver, and that was after the original one. So right after the original ones,
Yes.
Gold and Silver came out. I didn't continue on after that for a long time, and then I played that latest one, and I did enjoy it for the most part. It didn't have the same kind of feelings, you know, when you're playing it when you were really young. But I just didn't get that same kind of vibe. But it was still all right. So
I mean, isn't it daunting to like see all these new Pokemon that you just like have no idea what they are, and you're just like, okay, cool, I guess I'm catching this.
yeah, I just had no affinity for it. I just don't care. I was just catching the Pokemon I like, the Pokemon that I knew like in the game.
Bulbasaur, okay. Charizard, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Zapdos, okay.
Whatever. I was like, hey, I remember you from Gold and Silver or the original. I'm like, I'm gonna take you. I really don't care about everybody else. For example, I leveled up a Magikarp because I knew it was gonna be a Gyarados. I didn't want to be like, I struggled with the leveling up. I was like, I don't care. I know I'm gonna get a cool Pokemon. So.
That's the thing about Pokemon games. I mean, like I also fell off. I played Gold and Silver. I played, oh man, I don't even remember what the other ones that came after that. Diamond, was it? Pearl?
There's like Diamond, Pearl. There's like Emerald.
God, yeah. I remember I picked up Fire Ruby, which was for like the Game Boy Advance, and I was like, oh yeah, it's a callback to the original Fire, the red version and the blue version, and I was like, cool, I'll check it out, and then I just never got past a certain point. I was just like, it's the same thing, you know. It's just a rehash. You catch Pokemon, you fight the same dudes over and over again. I mean, like, of course, I play video games. I play certain ones over and over again, but just for whatever reason, the Pokemon games feel really stale. I feel like we're just making, I'm just making a fan base mad right now. But yeah, I don't know. Pokemon games are just the same thing.
They are. I mean, that is the case. I mean, it has the same formula. I mean, strategy-wise, it changed. I didn't know it got so competitive. Like after Gold and Silver, the Pokemon battle scene got really competitive because there's like these specialized training situations where you have to train the Pokemon a certain way. You want to catch a certain type of Pokemon, like you would catch like a Mewtwo or something, but each time you catch them, the stats are different. So you have base stats, and those base stats affect the maximum stats they'll get once they're at level 100. And then there's other things you do in order to get the stats even higher. And so, yeah, it's ridiculous. And so I think I'm glad I got out of it after Gold and Silver because I wouldn't have cared. It was just too complicated.
I just remember just feeding my Pokemon rare candies to level 100. I was just like, dude, I don't have time to level all my Pokemon to level 100. You're telling me there's base stats and all these things to worry about.
And you wouldn't want to use a rare candy. You wanted to level them up a certain way to maximize the stats. And it's...
Oh, no. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, rare candies obviously had its whatchamacallit, yeah, pitfall, right? I mean, like, obviously it's not going to gain certain stats, but geez, man, you can still dominate a lot of the the gym leaders when your Pokemon's level 100.
It's just that if you wanted to get into that competitive scene, from what I understood, you needed to have it down like 100. Like, you really needed to know what you're doing. And so, but like I said, I'm glad I got out of that at that point before it started getting really crazy because I just didn't care much for it anymore at that point. So, but yeah, I don't know.
Investment. It's an investment.
It's hard, you know, that investment in time, knowing you're going to have to clock in a lot of hours, Jason. You know, that feeling you're just like, man, I'm putting in so many hours in here. Just like I'm sure a lot of people are putting a lot of hours into Animal Crossing or something.
Yeah, it's intense. I'm just like, how do you spread your attention to so many games nowadays when there's so many games that are just like, hey, I need your attention here. Hey, you need to log in and do your daily bonus. Hey, you got to do this. Hey, you got to do that. I'm like, oh man, dude, I'm at this point in World of Warcraft now. I'm just like I'm only logging on to raid with my guild. That's it. I don't even want to bother trying to like do other quests. It's just there's really no point. It's a time sink already. I've sunk enough time and money into this. I just want to log in, just do a couple activities and call it a day.
And then soon you will stop playing World of Warcraft.
I think we had this conversation offline, like I think when we were talking while we were still doing Monday Live, I was just like, man, Danny, I'm playing World of Warcraft right now. I'm playing like 6 hours a day, whatever, yada, yada, yada. I'm trying to get to level 60 because level 60 is the max level. And when you reach level 60 in World of Warcraft, from that point, you're really playing the game. You're finally experiencing the end game content by trying to get gear. And the thing, the BS thing about this whole MMORPG scene is that when you get to max level and you're trying to get the best gear, they call it best in slot. Yeah. It's whacked, dude. Because then, first off, you have to go run a dungeon that's 4 hours long, and you have to fight the boss. And the boss has like a 2% drop chance of dropping the gear that you need. Not only that, when you're running a 40-man raid, you have 10 other people that are playing the same class as you are who also need the gear. So not only is there a 2% chance of them dropping a gear for you, you also have to roll against 10 other people for that gear. And if you don't get it, you gotta run it all over again. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I can't do this. So I'm at that point now where it's just like, yeah, the game is forcing me to get off because, like, it's a lottery system, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's a chance to get something and a chance to get it from a row. So I don't want to deal with that, as long as it it rewards me every time I log in and play just a little bit, I'll keep playing. But if I don't get rewarded after 3 times, I'm going to call it quits, man. I'll call it done.
It's like I said, it's a tough thing. We talked about it before too, in terms of just like getting your mind and investing it into a specific game. It takes a lot just for me mentally to get me to focus on something, and then when I get distracted, it's really hard for me to get back to whatever it is that I was doing before. Like I was playing Jedi Fallen Order, and I really enjoyed the game. Like I was really enjoying it completely. I stopped playing for a couple days. I didn't want to go back anymore. I just didn't want to go back anymore because I forgot how all the controls work. I don't know if that's the feeling I get, and it's really hard to just want to go back to doing something again when you're so invested into it the entire time. It's rough.
Yeah. No, I think we had this conversation too one other time where we were like, I asked you, I was like, the only reason why you're playing Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation, you're playing out of nostalgia reason. You know, nowadays we're so adverse to picking up a new game. I got Witcher 3 and I was like, oh yeah, I heard it's such a great game. Like I'm so down to play Witcher. I'm so excited. It takes 30 minutes, I might be exaggerating. It takes 30 minutes before you can actually start playing the game, and you're like trying to learn the clunky controls, and you're trying to get to a certain spot just so you can start finally playing the game. I'm like, my attention is lost. I'm done. So I bought the $60 game to only play for 40 minutes, and I just stopped. But wow, World of Warcraft, I played it 15 years ago. I pick it up again because I'm just like, yeah, I already know what I'm doing. Or just picking up any like Super Mario games. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I know what I'm doing already. I can just pick them and start playing.
Just growing old. I don't know. I don't know about your case too, with like even TV shows or even cartoons or animes or things like that. And investing all that time to watch something, it's really hard for me to pick something to watch. So like I'll go through Netflix. I don't know if you ever have to. If you do that, if you're gonna watch something, like I'll like watch an anime or something like that. And as soon as I get into the anime, I have to finish it. It could just be like just in shows in general. And so throughout the year, the school year, while I'm doing work, it's really hard for me to get to invest any time in doing that because it just takes up too much time. But since things settled down, there's a lot of extra time. Like I ended up watching like a couple of animes. I think one of the animes I started watching was Haikyuu. I think it was this volleyball anime. It's funny. It's like I don't know a lot about volleyball, though I shoot photos for it. And I was like, man, I might as well learn more about it. But man, that anime was very captivating. It's still not done yet, but it's like 4 seasons of it. And I literally watched like 3.5 seasons of that show in the span of like 3 days. And yeah, it was cool. I learned some things about volleyball. It's great.
Yeah, that's the exact reason why you should be watching anime, just to learn something about sports. I made that grave mistake once. I watched this anime called Free. Oh yeah, it's about swimming. It must be great. No, it's not. There's nothing. It has nothing to do with swim. It has a lot to do with a certain type of romance that gets the girls. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like watching. I was infuriated. I was like, so when are they gonna start competing? Because I like those type of anime.
Right.
You ever watch like those shonen anime? No, obviously like Dragon Ball, right? They're all training for the tournament, and they go through the trials and tribulations of while training. I was expecting stuff like that because I used to be a swimmer on the swim team back in high school. So I was like, I can probably identify with this anime. A bunch of dudes, getting together, being one of the best swim team of their high school or something like that. No, it was just a lot of fan service. And I was like, where's the swimming? And when they finally get to the competition, it was like literally 10 seconds of montage of them freeze frame doing the swimming strokes. And it was over. That's it. Oh yeah, we're the champions. I was like, you're skipping over the best part here. But man, yeah, sports anime. That's some wild stuff, dude.
Check out the volleyball one. It's pretty good though.
But no, I completely understand what you're saying. When you're following a series for so long, and when you're asked to start a series that's been running forever now, it's just so hard. It's just so hard to do it, right? Like like One Piece. Have you watched One Piece?
I watched like a few episodes. But
Naruto?
no.
Have you watched Naruto?
I've gone through the whole thing, probably minus some filler episodes, but I've gone through the whole thing.
Okay, so okay, we can talk about Naruto then, because then at least we have a common ground. This anime, man. I mean, like if you're telling me to start it now, I don't have the attention span. I even wanting to rewatch it, there's a need to well, not a need, but like a want to rewatch the whole thing, right? But at the same time, you're like, oh god, this is like 600, 700, 800 episodes of anime that I have to go through. I really don't want to be going through this.
Right.
And geez, man, and certain animes that are like having this legacy, having this sort of runtime, it's like, how do you? And it's not even over yet. Like, why would you even begin? So for me, a lot of these animes or even shows, I just wait till like the tail end of the season. Right? They're hitting maybe 2 seasons away. That's when they started, and that's how I start to catch up with certain things. They announced the Attack on Titan final season. I'm only 2 seasons behind, but now I'm just like, okay, now that you finally announced your final season, I'm gonna wait till you start airing your final season before I continue watching, because I am gonna wait to watch it and then having to wait another 2 years for you to finally premiere the next season. It's just too much. But I get it. It takes time to make good stuff,
It is. I mean, I hope they do well. I read up on the manga as soon as I got caught up on one. I got caught up at one point with the anime. But I don't know. It's hard sometimes to just keep track of things, and I just get distracted.
I don't even remember the character's name anymore. I don't even remember what happened. I don't even know what the point of the anime is. But once I get back into it, it's like, okay, all right, I remember certain things, and I'll be on the edge of my seat again. That's usually how it is for
there was like
Titan.
I think there was like even a joke or something like that, as far as like, they don't care how long this quarantine goes, but I'm not going to watch a single episode of One Piece. Like, even if this quarantine lasted forever, I wouldn't watch a single episode of One Piece. I think someone was.
That's
It's probably not that bad. It's probably not that bad. I'm pretty sure it has its good moments. It's just it's too daunting.
One Piece is fantastic. Like I started it when it was 500-600 episodes in already. I started in college, and my roommate was a huge, or still is a huge, One Piece fan. So he's just like, all right, I'm gonna make you binge watch all of One Piece during winter break. It was like a winter break of one of our college years, and obviously at the time, we had nothing better to do, either study or watch One Piece. So I was like, okay, all right, I'll watch One Piece. It's so good, man. I mean, the anime was fantastic, and it suddenly got to the point where they got the filler syndrome, right? they they started stretching their anime intro from 1.5 minutes to 3 minutes, and then they start focusing on the individual side character that has nothing to do with the story, reacting to what the main character is doing. So whenever a main character does something, you get the side characters that have nothing to do with the story going, "Oh my god, oh holy cow!" Like I'm like, dude, you don't have to stretch the episode like this. It just loses the pacing. So that's the gripe that I have with One Piece. But people tell me to read the manga, but the manga just isn't the same. You're missing a lot of the emotional music and the voice acting. That's what I really liked about Naruto. Was that the music and the voice acting was what makes all the really sad moments good and all the really hype moments hype.
Right.
The manga, I don't really feel the same way. I'm not much of a manga reader.
Kind of makes me want to watch some of those the big fights in Naruto. I think that's the only reason why I would go back and watch Naruto is for those big moment fights. Like those really big fights are the ones that are really fun and really fun to go back to. So, have you seen JoJo?
You know what? Funny enough, I was thinking about starting JoJo because of all the memes I've been seeing. It's hilarious. But what do you recommend?
I watched it because everyone kept talking about it and all the memes and stuff about it, and I was like, well, what the heck's this thing about? So I just started watching it. I probably watched the first 2 seasons and like half of the next season, and I just kind of stopped right now.
Okay, was it because it got boring or because it was just piling up? You're just letting it pile up?
No, I would say I think it's kind of fun to watch the first couple seasons and then go from there. See what you think afterwards. I think it felt a little slow a little bit, or I feel like it's going slow now. Actually, that's what it's feeling like now for me. But the first couple seasons were pretty fun to watch, I would say. So it's worth checking out.
Okay. I mean, it's just one of those things that we were just talking about, right? It's like there is no end to JoJo just quite yet. So for me to start and just be like, so it hasn't ended 2 years just for new episodes.
They said, from what I understood, it was like a manga from like the 90s or something like that, the 80s. It's an old story. It's not new.
Yeah.
So I think the manga side, it's already done probably. It's just, hopefully it's done if it started in the 90s. But
One Piece started in the 90s, and One Piece is not done, Danny.
I mean, there's Dragon Ball. That whole saga hasn't ended either. So
there was an end to Dragon Ball. There was an end to Dragon Ball. They decided to just keep going with it. All right.
I haven't.
Akira Toriyama needs some money, so he's just like, all right, here, let me just. Where can we take our characters now? They're fighting the evil monster. Okay, we're gonna take it up to the gods. I'm like, oh no, why?
I think I stopped after
this point.
Dragon
I'm
Ball
not even
Super.
watching. I'm not even watching Dragon Ball for the fights. I'm just watching them interacting with their families because I find the comedy in Dragon Ball Super to be really good. The fight is just like, I don't really care too much about it. I end up skipping most of the fights, just kind of fast forwarding it, just like watch Goku's interaction with his family, after being dead for so many years, or Vegeta. Vegeta actually has really good moments with his family, so that's what I watch Dragon Ball Super for.
They're like on another season already. I think it was like Jiren or something. Goku versus Jiren was the big fight, the culmination of a couple years ago.
Yeah. It was There was a big universe fight, and then I think they did a movie with Broly, and then they're gonna continue on with another season, right? Is that what you're referring to?
I think they're already on that other season. It's just that I don't want to follow it anymore. I'm good right now. I'm totally good right now.
I will have to be that. Here's the thing about me. I'll get bored enough to the point where I'm just like, okay, all right. So Dragon Ball has been piled up for the past couple of years. It's time for me to start binge watching it. And I come to find, oh, cool. There's only 20 watchable episodes because everything else is just dragged on filler.
Oh,
but
man.
yeah. Dragon Ball, good stuff. I don't know. Like when you were growing up, anime was anime cool? Anime, obviously. I feel like anime now, if you like anime, you're probably one of the cooler kids. But back then, when you watch anime, it wasn't exactly something that you talk in public.
Yeah, it wasn't as widely sort of like when I was in high school. Even the Japanese culture was still sort of very, very niche. Like even for us getting music, like Japanese music, like J-pop and stuff like that. Like one of my friends, he somehow was able to get some of that music, and we were listening to it. And it was back in the days of dial-up, so even trying to get this music was really tough. But it's funny because now it's so cringy, Jason, because I want to go back in time, because we would go on school field trips and we'd be bumping this J-pop music on the school bus on the field trips. I'm pretty sure everybody was like, WTF, what are you guys playing? Like, what is all of this stuff? But
what is this? What is this trash? How do you know they're not cursing in your songs?
But I was like, yeah, it's something different. It sounds cool. We're really feeling it. But I phased out of it, the whole J-pop, K-pop kind of thing, like listening to that stuff. For me personally, after a while, I just kind of like fell off the bandwagon. But you're right with the high school stuff. And I'll tell you too, there was, I don't know how this happened, Jason, like in high school and stuff. We had a math class. We had to do a presentation. Me and my friend then, we played this Korean music video in the class. We don't know how it happened. It was a math class. We ended up playing it. And I don't even know what happened. I'm like, I think back to it now of how cringy it must have been. It was this Korean music video called Kiss Because I'm a Girl. Like, I think it's from this group called Kiss. And I think it's called Because I'm a Girl. It's actually about this guy who's a photographer.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, right? It's like super sad. It's super sad. But see, that's the thing. It was like so wildly popular. But we got it before. I'm just trying to remember why it is that we played the video in the class and showed it to the whole class. It made no sense. I'm like, how did this have to do with math? But I think we played it in a math class. And I think back to it now, I was like, man, it must have been so cringy. And but hey, today, I mean, I think kids are still, in my opinion, in terms of what like high school kids, I think more kids are now more receptive to like Japanese, Asian, this kind of like J-pop, K-pop, that kind of thing, especially with that guy group, right? What's those groups? BTS, is that what they are? BTS.
Yeah. The Korean pop boy. Yep.
Right. And you can sense it like that. There's a bigger like reception to all that stuff nowadays than there was like, I don't know, 15 years ago or something like that. 20 years ago or something.
It's wild, man. It's like strange, right? Like for me, I kind of call myself a closeted weeb because it's something that you don't like to admit, but it's like, yeah, anime is cool. I like to watch anime. Oh yeah, Japanese culture is cool. I like the Japanese music, but definitely back in the day, it's like you're kind of a weirdo, right? And unfortunately, there is a little bit of a stigma if you're into the whole anime stuff. And now that I got a chance to kind of like hear it from kids this generation, or kids nowadays, especially Vivian's brother, they're like, yeah, watching anime is cool now. All my friends watches anime and they're still part of the cool crowd. I'm just like, damn, dude, man, where was this when I was around? I watch a ton like all anime, Naruto and all that, and everyone's like memeing this stuff on Facebook and all the cool kids too. I'm like, damn. Where was this? Where was this hype back then?
Jason, it was all those kids doing that Naruto run. They were doing that ninja run. They ruined it.
Damn. No, don't get me wrong. There's some stuff that's still super cringy out there. Here's the thing. I don't know if you're still on Facebook or not, but Facebook loves to show memories, which is like, oh, they'll show you like statuses you post 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And I look back at it, I see some anime or some Japanese text. I'm like, oh God, why? Why does this exist? Why did I post this? I want to go back in time and punch myself.
There are kids at high school, because the students started the anime club and I'm the advisor, right? And so, but there are other.
You're still an advisor for the anime club?
Yeah, I'm the advisor. I'm still the advisor for the anime club for this time. And there's other kids that were there that had some interest in it, but there's certain kids that are kind of like, they're into anime. Like I'll ask them like they're into anime, but they're like, we don't really want to be part of that. Like they're like, yeah, we watch anime, but we don't really want to be part of that group.
I fully get it. That was me in anime club. I was like freshman year of high school, and my buddies were just like, yeah, we hear from the upperclassmen, there's an anime club, we got to join it. The room was packed.
Wow.
And we went to 3 meetings, and every meeting was watching a Full Metal Alchemist episode. By the 3rd meeting, I was like, I'm done, dude. I don't want to. I don't want to come back, dude. There are some interesting characters in there. Unbeknownst to myself, I was one of those interesting characters.
Everyone has those phases, man. Unless you're like, I'm still that character.
Probably. So I brought you to Anime Expo a couple years ago.
Right.
What was that experience like?
Very interesting. Very interesting. Especially that big giant mosh pit. It was. I mean, it was. I enjoyed it because I'd never been. I've always heard about it. Thought about going when I was in college, but never did. But it was pretty cool just to go check it out.
You never really had the opportunity to, right? Because you were like you were all the way in like Mid-Cal and Anime Expo. It's like you don't have anything like that out there?
Well, I could have gone because when I was going to school in SoCal, I was in Southern California.
Oh, that's right.
So
That's right.
I had some friends that were talking about it. They were like, yeah, we're going to rent this cheap hotel. We're just going to stay at this hotel and then go or whatever. I just never really got into going. I mean, yeah, I was watching anime and stuff, but I didn't feel like I was like that into anime. Like, yeah, like that's so. I mean, and for me too, I mean, in terms of when I went, it was just fun to see the experience, but I don't know if I really got the typical experience where you go to see panels and things like that if you have something you're pursuing or something like that. But for me personally, I was when we went, I had to follow with anime, right? I hadn't watched anime in forever. There's like a lot of things I didn't even know. I like, who are you dressed up as? You're dressed up as a My Hero Academia character. I don't even know what this anime is. I don't even know what these characters were doing. And yeah, lots of interesting people, scantily clad and other things. So,
I'll be honest. I've been going to a lot of these anime conventions for quite some time now, and it's always been more about the experience, going with friends rather than actually being there for the anime or the culture itself. Because when we went, I had a great time. We were out there shooting cosplay photos. We're bringing around a giant strobe with the umbrella through the crowd. I don't think we're supposed to do that.
And then say
but we
anything.
did, and, it's all these fun things that we get to do. And I remember doing this with my friends. It's just like, yeah, we're planning Anime Expo. Granted, we don't watch that much anime, but we're planning Anime Expo. We're going to get a hotel. It's about just going with your friends and having fun. I feel like that's what really the whole anime con culture is all about. So I'm glad I took you out there because I had a blast doing all those cosplay photos with you. And it makes for a great place to do some tests. I'm telling you, man. Camera tests.
You're just a savage, man. When we were out there, you were just like, can you just hold that spot? Let me switch out the lens really quick. Hold on. Don't move. I got this 85. I got to get another 85 right now. Don't move. I got a 35. I got another lens I got to try. Can you just stay right there? Let me But I think we had set it up so that you would just switch the camera. You would just switch the camera out for that. But
I'm telling you, we're never ever doing that again. I mean, I am never doing lens comparison like that ever again because it's just so much work, right? And on top of that particular year, the Sigma lenses were out for the E mount and they were massive. Massive lens, and we have almost three not three copies of each, but like 3 iterations of each, Sigma, Zeiss, and Sony. I'm just like, Danny, what are we doing with our life? Why are we even doing this?
Jason,
but it ended up being a pretty good video. I think it went on to get almost close to 200K in views, but wasn't it a good content area, Danny? Wasn't it a good content area?
It was a good content area in terms of like getting material that you needed to review the product. It was a really great time. Well, speaking of camera stuff, Jason, a camera just recently came out, and I'm pretty clueless about everything about this camera. I've tried to stay relatively clueless about it, but it's what's the official title for it?
You're talking about this one right here, the Sony with the flip out screen. Right here, this one right here.
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to like dive into too much of this stuff, but I have some questions because I didn't know. I don't know exactly. How on that camera. Well, speaking of that about the camera itself, like, can you just do a quick rundown of your thoughts on it, real quick, or something?
All right, yeah. So this is the brand new Sony ZV-1. This is the Sony pocket point and shoot camera with the flip out screen. Now, this is something that we've been requesting from Sony for all their lines of cameras, and finally we have literally an RX 100 camera body with a flip out screen, a mic jack, and this is the best vlogging camera. Literally every single YouTuber out there who makes YouTube videos have already praised this camera, and that this camera is the best vlogging camera of 2020. But yeah, what is your question, Danny?
Oh, I wanted to ask you, so is the ND filter, there's an ND filter in there, right, Jason?
There is an ND filter. The ND filter is back.
Is it the same as the RX 100 Mark V?
I believe so. Same in what way?
So is it pretty aggressive in the ND filtration, or is it just like if you wanted to shoot at 50th of a second at f2.8 outdoors, you're not going to get a strong enough ND, right? I'm assuming on a bright day.
Oh man, that's a very good question. It may not be strong enough for that. I haven't really done a full test on it, but yeah, I don't think it's that strong enough where it'll completely kill the light.
And then there was that bokeh effect, right? So if you like are looking at yourself, so if you're recording yourself, there's a bokeh option, right? So that it would isolate you, and then it would kind of blur out the background like a camera phone would do. Was that one of the features as well?
It's not computational photography, if that's what you're asking. It's literally it's just winding up your aperture to 1.8. So if you were shooting in like program auto or whatever auto settings, and it so happens that you're not already at f1.8, it just puts it at f1.8. But if you click it again, it goes to clear background. So it will close down your aperture for that clear background look.
And how are you enjoying the on-camera audio? How's that for you?
It's not bad. It's actually pretty decent, but you can't beat something with a shotgun mic because it's just more directional. I would rather go with a more directional mic. And the fact that they included a hot shoe mount, so you don't have to buy a cage, it just makes it easy to mount a Rode Micro or something.
So still same battery as the previous ones, right? Like the RX 100s?
Same battery, yep.
So you got to be mindful of the battery to make sure you pack in some extra stuff if you're using it.
Absolutely. But I was able to shoot an hour and 4 minutes of 4K before the battery died and the camera did not overheat at all. I mean, your mileage may vary, but but yeah, 1 hour and 4 minutes of 4K, no issue at all.
Okay, cool. As far as the lens, like the width of that lens, like for you personally, would you have liked it to be wider? Would it have been a little bit nicer, just a little wider on the end?
I mean, I'm fine with the 24. If that's what you're asking, could it be wider? Absolutely. But the fact that we have it at 24 at f1.8, I'd have no complaints. I literally have no complaints about this camera. I think it's probably something that everyone's been asking for, and the fact that they already put all that back, 1.8, 2.8, 24 to 70, ND filter with the mic jack and everything, I feel like it's a really solid setup.
Okay.
Any thoughts on picking up this vloggy cam?
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait, Jason. I'm just gonna wait, Jason. I don't know what's happening in this world right now, Jason. I'm just gonna hold off on any big purchases right now. I'm just gonna wait.
But Danny, it's only $750.
Woo! Only 700.
$750. Come on, man. It's just calling your name for it, right here.
I'm just gonna use my 6600. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay.
Hey man, it's 6600, 10 to 18. Actually, even 6400 with a 1018. I really like that. I really enjoy that setup a whole lot.
That's the only thing I would say. It's harder for me if I didn't already have a system that I could use already. For example, if I didn't have that system, it would appeal to me much more, for sure, 100%. But it's that thing where, since you already have some options, it's really hard. It's a really hard purchase only because it's like I can already adapt something else that I can already use. And then even with like the 6600, because of the bigger battery option, like I don't feel that rush or that urge like, oh my God, I'm going to run out of battery life. But what's really great though with that particular setup is that it's really small and compact. Like that's probably the killer option about it, just about the overall size. So.
Yep. I personally like it a lot. I think, I'm one of those weirdos that like to flip up screen. I've already like rigged it in a way, my RX 107 with a cage and everything, the mic on top and everything. I was like, this is a solid setup. I'm ready to go. And then bam, Sony was like, hey, hold on. In a couple of weeks, we're launching this thing. I was like, dang it. But yeah.
You know, I like that point that you made when I was seeing when the screen was flipping out. You know, for the longest time, we were always asking Sony about the flipping screen, but then they started doing this whole deal here, and I was like, I actually do like this better than the flipping screen to the side personally, because of just how small the footprint is compared to it being wide open on the side.
Yeah.
I would feel it's less obtrusive, because if you're holding it like this, but now when you have that screen flip out to the side, it's a little bit more, you know, it's a little different, you know?
You know, I feel like they can still put it back and then move this little hot shoe on the other side so it wouldn't block the mic. You know, if they can find a way to just engineer something like that, that would be great. Because, yeah, I too prefer the flip up screen, but, you know, obviously everyone really likes a majority of the people really likes this.
Yeah, I mean, the RX 100, the 7 series, the 7 flips up if you wanted to use that one. But
oh yeah, I'm likely still gonna use my RX 107 to do any sort of if I needed like that kind of setup to vlog with, because Vivian really likes this setup right here with the flip out screen, so she's probably gonna take this camera. But I really like how they included this little fuzz, this little hat, and it has like a little, you know, hot shoe cap on the bottom, and you can just do that, so you don't have to like glue any sort of mic fur on top of your camera. So it already has a little hat to.
Yeah, I like that implementation. I like what they did there. That's pretty smart to use the hot shoe in order to put that cover.
That's really smart. At first, I thought it was gonna be like, you know, how the Rode, the small Rode where you clip on. I hate that thing. That thing always comes off for me. But this one just slides right in. I'm just like, holy cow, that's amazing.
As I remember having to do the little stupid sticky to put the microphone wind muff on the RX 100 Mark V using tape and everything like that. That didn't work out so well. And then the hand grip right there, Jason. I know they've had some iterations with the hand grip, but that one's all Bluetooth, right?
Yep, this one right here is all Bluetooth. There's no wire, so once you sync it up, you can hit the movie record button, and it would just trigger that, or, you know, zooming in. So this grip is really just made for a camera like this. Yeah.
I'm not gonna get it though.
I don't know. I mean, what would you be using this for? What would this be your purpose?
That's what I'm saying. For me personally, it's hard for me. Like, I would only be using it for B-roll if I was going to go back out and start recording again and getting that footage that I needed. But my issue is that it's not wide enough. That'd be for me personally. Okay, so for me, if it was a 16 to 35 range, I would have been all for this particular camera personally for me, because for the way I shoot, like, because, you know, with the APS-C body like this guy here, you know, you're using like the 1018. It's a really good wide option. For me, when it comes to that, it's a little too wide. There's times when I want it a little bit more in, but I'd rather it be more like a equivalent to 1635 instead. Give me a little bit more distance in times when I need it. So, you know, if they could have pulled something off like that, I would have been like, you know what, I'll get this thing. Like, I'd be all in. So, because I can already duplicate that with a different setup, I'm okay with that. But with the vlogging thing, I don't know. I would just probably force myself to use the RX 100 Mark V still that I have. I don't know.
I mean, it's work. It's work, and it's been working. So
it's worked, and it's fallen down before onto that concrete when we were with Lee.
God.
Good times. Good times. And that Zeiss 55.
Ooh, you dropped quite a bit of setup.
Well, Jason, speaking of danger, how are you doing out there? Any big problems in your area right now, especially with all protesting and all that stuff? Are you cool, or is there like issues there?
There are, you know, for the most part, in the city that I live in, it's been a very peaceful protest.
Okay.
So, nothing too crazy. I know we had a pawn shop that got their windows wrecked, which is really unfortunate. We did have someone, they were protesting in the corner, right? And some dude that was driving literally, I don't want to say ran a protester over, but the protester was literally on the front of his hood as the guy was driving off. So that was pretty insane. And we also, you know, have like a truck that drove by with like coals and stuff just to like mess with the protesters. So, you know, aside from these little things, nothing too crazy happened around the area that I'm living in. But downtown LA and West Hollywood, that's where it I guess kind of sucks, because we were literally in downtown LA in one of the during one of the nights of the protests, but we left an hour before things got too hectic. So we were lucky in that regards. But man, yeah, it's crazy. Just seeing stores getting looted really sucks.
I heard about
because that's not the message. I don't feel like that's the message that
exactly.
that protester was trying to go for. I think people were just capitalizing on the situation and just kind of joined in on the chaos, and just it's a bummer.
It was bad. I mean, because I was hearing about the Grove, and I remember you took me around where the Grove is at, and when I heard about that and the looting, I was like, oh crap! Like I had been out there with you and everything like that in that particular area, but apparently they've completely trashed and looted the area. And I started thinking too, it's like, wasn't Sammy's in that area too? Like, did they get impacted or something like that? And I mean, I searched online just before we started our chat, but it looks like nothing's happened yet. It's like Sammy's or something like that, but
nothing. Nothing crazy. At least in the Sammy's department of things. I mean, like, it already sucks that most of them have to like be closed for the whole COVID-19 situation, and for even some of these restaurants and businesses to experience looting or break-ins, it's just very disheartening,
Yeah.
So anything crazy on your end, or is just more LA? It is more of an LA thing.
It's pretty quiet around here, man. Luckily, I'm very fortunate in that sense that it's not hectic too at all. So,
but some sort of protestings are going on, right, in your area?
Not like in the specific area I'm in, but citywide somewhere else, not too far out. But I mean, I'm just hoping things kind of settle down again. I mean, we were hoping the whole COVID thing would settle down already, and then we got this other thing we got to settle down with. And I'm just like, I understand, there's things going on, but I'm hoping within the next month or so, hopefully everything will start easing out.
Well, go ahead.
With the whole California thing, I remember we were moving into these different phases already when they were starting to opening up. I think there was like a phase 2. And then I started hearing my barber started letting people know that they can start getting haircuts again. So, so I don't know. And then for me, with my job, in particular with schools and everything like that, I still don't know what's going to happen, go into the fall in terms of whether we'll be at school or not in school, or be half-time, part-time, and that kind of thing. So,
yeah. I mean, Orange County is starting to open up too. I heard nail salons in certain areas are starting to open up. So things supposedly are looking into more positive. But I don't think we're gonna be back at full swing of things for quite a bit, maybe till the end of the year. But people are getting restless. Yeah,
that's what I don't know. That's what I figured.
I don't want to dive too much into it because, with the nature of your job, and, I definitely don't want to make this anything political, but, a lot of people are getting vocal, and, we'll just keep this podcast politics free.
I just want to talk about the cameras because I was worried about the cameras at Sammy's. Like, that was the whole thing. I was like,
I see.
We don't want, there's not that many.
ZV1 is fine, guys. ZV1 is fine. No, you know what? No, this is the scary thing, though. Yesterday, after hearing the looting, right, I was like, okay, all right. There's looting going on. This is very unfortunate. It's really suck, And after reading that, in the morning, a couple hours later, I'm logging into World of Warcraft in my living room. I'm starting to play. And then I heard and I saw my doorknob moving. And I was like, freaking out, because me and Vivian were home. Okay, we're we both like bolted to like the direction of our door. And we're just like, what is that? And the opening got a little bit more aggressive, and we're like, oh shoot, dude. We were like freaking out. We're like, what is going on? I ran into like my little peephole, and I was like, and I see this family, like this guy, this husband, the wife, and a little kid. But then obviously I was freaking out. I was in high alert mode, because I was like, what if these people are trying to rob us right now, right? Like, I'm hearing all about this looting stuff. And I yelled at the door, I was like, who are you? Excuse me, what are you doing here? Oh yeah, we're looking for this because we are, doing some apartment tour. And I was like, you got the wrong address, buddy, get out of here. Get out now, please.
So they were
And I
like,
was like,
they
okay,
were
this
they
is
were
like,
moving that door. So they were trying to open that
they
door.
were moving that door. Like, that's the thing, right? I'm like, dude, we have a floor mat. Like that already should let you know that this place is occupied. There's like no,
Yeah.
there is like no tour or anything happening like that. Granted, Vivian was like, there are places that allow you to tour apartment where it's fully furnished and everything, right? But I was like, dude, at least ring the doorbell. Don't be aggressively trying to open the door. It just sounds like you're trying to break in.
They're like, is Jason
yeah,
Vong there? Is Jason Vong there?
Give me your camera gear. Give me the ZV-1.
We just want his autograph.
Oh man, I'm glad. The amount of audience that we have does not, warrant crazy people trying to find where we live. But yeah, that's definitely a very scary possibility and a scary thing. It's just like what is going on? I'm gonna die in my own home.
Just hold all your cameras tight, Jason. Just hold them all. Hold them all.
You'll never get the A7S III. You'll never yank this out of my hand. I'm under NDA.
That's what they're after. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Monday Offline podcast. Make sure you let us know down below in the comments what you thought or a favorite story that you had and share some of your experiences. Don't forget to smash that like button, get subscribed, and hit that bell notification. We'll really appreciate it. We'll see you later.